Righty, right. Almost forgot to turn on my chiller. That would have been a bit of an issue. So Windows 8.1. That means Firestrike, although I still have to install it and system info, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. I usually say that and then, you know, it takes an hour. Let's go for the newer version. Right, hopefully my Nightbot is cooperating. Hi 65. Hey Cold Wove, how are you doing over there in another part of the same city? It's a rainy day today. I wasn't even gonna stream, but there's nothing else good to do really once it's raining. So I have a few cards to run through, and why not do it on stream? Well, so we've got our 10900K back in business after a little bit of a hiatus. Let's actually get the latest CPU Z on here as well. So Windows 1.92 will do. Windows 7 is a bit of a pain on this platform. It takes a bit of time to get all of the drivers working and stuff. So, and I think 8.1 is kind of faster in Firestrike anyway. So let's get rid of that Ryzen background. That's a bit odd considering it's Z490. No, that's not what I want to change. Very important to have the right background, or else your scores will be lower. Okay, weird. Let's open that up. Wow, this extract is taking a long time. So the card I've got on there now is it's called like an SC 2.0 or something. Let's look that up. So that's my lowest bin of GTX 980. Yes, so is there a way to filter? I suppose filtering by the name gives us, it's not a classified, so it's an ACX 2.0. So it's an ACX 2.0. I also have 3 Kingpins, and I have Galax Hall of Fame. And basically I just want to find a way of binning them on air. I might have to attach my custom air cooler if I find that there's a big change, like a big difference between the different air coolers. But I think maybe I can start by binning for memory, because that's important in modern benches. And if that's close, then I can try and bin for air. How's the 10900K treating me? Well, I have 2 of them. I was lucky enough to get a sample from Intel and another one from Gigabyte along with the board. And I haven't done enough for them because of Team Cup, because, I don't know, I haven't been too motivated to be benching recently anyway. I haven't done enough work on them, so that's why I could have done this binning on the 7940X, maybe that's even a better platform. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's definitely a possibility that that's a better platform for Firestrike. I don't know. It's debatable. It all depends on how much difference the memory makes and stuff. But I chose to pick this platform so I can also work on the platform a little bit. Weird. Let's restart that. Okay. So, fun little thing about Windows 8.1 is you actually have to roll in a particular version of, I think it's .NET 3.5 into the install ISO, or else you're completely SOL for the render test, because the render test requires the Direct 3D install. Can I show that? So the render test, I think it's under updates. Nope. I think you know what I mean anyway. Basically, by default, you can't run the render test on 8.1. So this card, for future reference, I'm actually going to take down the stock clocks. And I'm going to take down the stock vid as well, because that's really important when you're trying to compare different, basically different cards, different SKUs to each other. So, so let's make a new dock in my, what would we call it? 980 stream, whatever. So EVGA generic is, oh, it's actually boosting down, if I'm seeing that correctly. Let's restart the render test. So it'll be 1405 and 1753. And at least GPU-Z is reporting 1.212. Okay. Yeah, you can override voltage. That's true. But that assumes that you have voltage control on every single card. And that's not necessarily guaranteed. So I like to stick with what I know. So why not just note down the vid? This takes so long to install these days. I mentioned earlier, but it's good to repeat it. I have 3 kingpins, Galax, Hall of Fame, and this card. Maybe I can just show them. So they're in the bin. That's my GPU bin. Now I can't reach the microphone. Okay. Let's do that a little bit differently. Let us, as my stream quality goes down the drain again, let us look at them one by one. So that bin I showed you, so I think they're 50-liter bins. I have about 7 of those full of hardware. This is the, I can't really remember, Accelero Extreme 3 that I may have to use today if the cooling ends up being a factor that kind of spoils the experiment. just these are my kingpins on the back. Literal binning, yes. I've noted down the ASIC just in case that makes a difference. So we've got a 67% ASIC, a 70% ASIC, and a 69% ASIC. So actually they're really, really similar. So here's our kingpins. And then on the Hall of Fames, it's actually quite hard to know what's the TI and what's the non-TI. I might just have to stick it into the system. Oh, this is the TI. So it has a... I was going to say it has a longer cooler, but they look identical to me. But actually the backplate is missing off of the non-TI. I may as well continue the show and tell. Here's some 580s I bought from Dino. I'm hoping to bin 580s as well. I have about 9 580s or something. So here's one just with sense wire on it. Obviously that didn't meet the binning criteria. It's actually a reference. Here's a sock that's all vased up, so that might have been a better bin. And we've got 4 volt mods on the back there. Not exactly sure what that is. Might be core, mem, yeah, and 2 minor rails. And we've got a really nice core sense wire here as well, so that's definitely a good card to try. And here we've got another card with a lot of insulation on it. Let me double check. Yes, it's also a sock. And it's saying 1550 core at 1.42 volts at minus 150. I don't know if 1550 core is good or bad, but take that for what it is. No binning notes on the other ones. That might have been the one that was tried on cold. So, like I said, a 980 Ti, but actually this I think is dead. I might have to try an Ormada or something. But 980 Ti Hoff. This is just my working bin of GPUs. I have more. Actually, there's some 4870s X2s in the back there. Here's my... Ooh. Do I have 2 980 Hoffs? Because this says 980 Hoff on it. 76.6 ASIC. If that's a 980 Hoff, then what is this? I don't think I have 2 TIs. Oh, that's the 970. Yes, that's the 970 Hoff. And then here we've got our bog standard 580 sock. So I could probably copy the volt mods off of Dino's cards. Show the front. Well, I think that's a 970 because I have 1080, 1070, 980, 980 Ti, and 970. So it might actually be the 1070. I could have swapped coolers as well, so there's really no way of telling, especially with the backplate missing. Could be a 970, could be a 1070. In either case, it's not really relevant today. This is my 2 gigahertz RX 480. I'll have to rerun that sometime. So much fun on cold. Here's a 5970 with a nice EK block attached. Here's my 770 classified, which actually is a really good card. While I'm doing that, let's do a quick stock run on 3D Mark as well. Yeah, so 770, apparently these have really bad OCP issues on cold, but on chiller this does really, really well. I think it does like 1600 core or something crazy like that. Or 1550, something pretty decent. Just 3 more cards to go. Oh, I need to enter my my key here, so let's just stay on this camera so I don't give away my $5 3D Mark key. Boom. Yeah, let's just run disable demo. What were we up at? So this is my naked 5970. And a dead 980 Ti classified. I don't know if I can still RMA this. I could possibly clean it up and stuff and RMA it. And here's a 1080 non-TI half. All right. Oh, White Shark, it's definitely 970 because the 1070 is actually in my stream rig. So by process of elimination, it's a 970. So that was my GPU bin. Yeah, I have Obscure. I actually have about 5 working 4870 X2s. They're easy to pick up. So, answering your question, yes, your parcel arrived today, and that's going to conclude my show and tell. Is just unpacking that parcel because I haven't actually had a look in it yet. So, this is the size of it. So it's got a few boards in there. So here we have a kit of DDR2. The 9600 bin, whatever that works out to be, 2.35 volts, HyperX's. Sweet, that should run well. Here we've got board number 1. Maybe I need something sharp to open this with. Just gonna use a screwdriver. Thank Christ it finally arrived. Yeah, especially in times of Corona, international shipping is insane. I think I had something from China take 4 months. I have so much bubble. I usually save the bubble wrap, but I have so much spare now. May as well just tear it open. 5-day shipping. 5 Earth days, or I don't really understand that. 5 Jupiter days. So this is a board I've benched together with Bilco before, but they actually are quite hard to get a hold of in Australia or just in general. So it's the Formula 5Z. From what I can tell, it's better at memory overclocking than the regular Formula 5. But it'll just be interesting to see. Bilko's board is sort of half dead, so it'll be interesting to see a fully working board. Bit of Vaz on there as well. You Googled that, right? So, Mercury days then. Ooh, it even has a 4-pin over here somewhere. Okay. I might try and use that for the 32M Overclock challenge on, was it Zambezi for Team Cup? One more board. The exactish figure. Alright, actually our run finished here, so it was a 13.3k. Now let's start pumping the memory, and Afterburner is expired. So this is how you get Afterburner Extreme to work again. You set the date back to like 2009 or something. So we want full fans. I don't know, plus, oh, that's extremely annoying. Never mind, auto fans and plus 400 memory to start off with, maybe. Oops. Yeah, okay. That'll probably crash, but you can give it a go. So back to the show and tell. We have a board here. One hint will be that it has orange slots, RAM slots. There goes the $5 key. Yeah. All right. Freeze frame that and steal my key if you want. Orange and yellow slots in an unusual location. Can anyone tell? Take a wild guess what it might be. Hey, that's not fair, Obscure. You sent me this stuff. Yeah, that's nice and clean. So it's the 939 LAN Party Expert board. I already have. Oh, it's got an 8-pin. I never knew that the Expert had an 8-pin because the others don't. The others have 4 pins, and better location as well. It's surprisingly different to the other boards on 939. Okay, sweet. There we go. So now the nice and clean room is completely messy again, but who cares? So our run is running. That made me thirsty, all that talking. So let's try and catch up with chat while our GT2 is running here. I should limit the runs to just GT1 and 2 actually. Yeah, funnily enough, for pure memory frequency, the Ultra D does very well as well, and I have 4 of those. I have 1 SLI, 4 Ultra Ds. Some of those are dead, maybe can be revived, but yeah. I'll have to see which is better for pure memory frequency, but then for benching, I could imagine that the Expert might do well. So let's catch up with chat. IR3595. Do you are you serious that? Yeah, but it's not just plug in EVC2. You have to solder on points and stuff. Imagine, like, I know it's easy to do, but imagine soldering on 3 wires onto 5 cards, only to do air binning and then sell 3 of them again. Probably sell them for less because they've been molested. Can still hear you fine. That's good. Yeah, this mic is supposed to be kind of directional, so I think it has more issues with kind of being to the side of it like that than being far away. That's the idea with these, whatever they're called, cardioids, super cardioid. I don't know. I used to know this stuff when I was buying my mic, but not anymore. Okay, so that's a pass. That's a 14.9 graphics. For plus 400. So now let's do, I don't know, plus 500, I suppose, is the logical evolution. Yeah, it's effective as well. It's effective clock. So if you add plus 100, you will only see plus 50 in GPU Z. Ooh, I need to update system info or else I don't have any valid scores. I might do that after this run. Yeah, metallic cooler from the 980 Ti. I kind of swap around the coolers whatever way I feel like. So don't take that as an indication for anything. Yeah, so Obscure, out of curiosity, what actually happened to the parcel? They said they had the wrong address, but I double checked the address and it seemed fine, so it's kind of weird. Z gets higher RAM speed. Well, there is a RAM stage in Team Cup this year. But I've already subbed for that, and I actually subbed full LN2. Where is it? Mem frequency. DDR3. So I still have, no one else has gone cold, it seems like. So I mean, Max is getting close. Where's my, it's not in the top 10 here, or the latest 10. So Max is getting close with 1400. But my run, yeah, see, was full LN2, 1505. So I'm very much unlikely to rerun that. I have other cold stuff to run. And in general, I mean, Team Cup, there's so many subs required. There's, unless some sort of big breakthrough is made, there's no real reason to ever rerun, I would say. Just because just getting another sub is always sort of more important in a sense than, you know, trying to improve an old one. I'm sure you could make this better, but I think just having cold MFR should beat all the ambient scores, hopefully. Yes, to the side, definitely worse. Okay, that confirms that. That was why I bought this mic. What's the command for that anymore? Stream rig, I think. I quite like it. I quite like how it sounds. Just because of my crappy internet, it probably doesn't really shine through. But when I listen back to, like my VODs locally recorded, I quite like it. So let's give a shout out to them. Yeah. So Sennheiser 9335, really nice. So what were we talking about? I should probably also update the link to the recent competition. So one of the problems with, we have a pass 13. So what was our GTs? So we're at about 15k GTs, so that it's slowing down, but we're still getting about 100 extra points from 100 effective memory. Yeah, let's try more. maybe do a render test, because we're starting to sort of hit the limits of what I would reasonably expect to actually work. Yeah, so how do we, so what's the overall Team Cup page? There we go. I might sign into Nightbot here. Weird about Nightbot that you have to kind of reauthorize Twitch every single time. I don't know why that is. So here's our overall Team Cup page. Actually, I think you can always sort of guess the URL. I think if you put in 19 here, it should work. Let's try. So where's our competition? Oh, actually deleted. Comp. So this is 2019. Oh, there is an overall ranking that's working now, which you can't see because it's off to the side. Why is all the important info always off to the side like that? Okay, that's a reasonable compromise there. So Overclock.net currently leading. And then, of course, our good friends at Warp 9 Systems in second. And then the German team in third. I can't pretend to know anyone on Cowcott land, but they're in fourth. Team Finland making a good showing in fifth. And then MLG, OC Crew. But the ones to watch for are actually hiding down in 17th, because they've subbed some really, really strong stuff. So they're all plug and play. So even this crappy EVGA card has a head on it, you're saying? Can't really see one offhand, but okay, I believe you. Everyone says Ultra D is better for pure frequency, but I've not noticed a massive difference. Not having to use jumpers for 3.2 plus, but the jumper is set and forget in my opinion. But I think the other thing with the Ultra D is you can just bin boards like crazy. Like I've accumulated, I mean, one of them is an SLI, but that's the same board with just a few little bits and pieces missing. So I've basically accumulated 5 boards just without trying. Whereas if you get a bad expert, what do? I mean, you can try and bin, but it's not that easy. So definitely starting to see bad scaling now. Only got about 30 more points out of the last 100. Mem frequency, but let's keep going anyway. So yes, that was flat. So I need a better desktop, basically. Does mem tweak could work on this platform? It's probably going to crash. Doesn't really look like it is working. That's definitely better. Okay, so that was plus 600. I think I remember this card being pretty good on memory. That's 2050 actual. Let's try plus 700. Then again, Firestrike isn't really the most memory heavy. I think Time Spy would probably crap out somewhere around here. So render test at least is working. Whether Whether it would make sense to, in the end, bench at these frequencies is a different matter, because you want to also balance core and memory. Stability of the expert. I think there's... I still need to update my system info. There's actually a pretty famous sub by Nay where he bitches on the expert. Let me try and find it. Back when he was... what am I doing? No, we want here, this memory tab. Memory frequency. So there was a little stutter there. Let's keep an eye on it. It might fail GT2. So when Nay was trying to get world record in each type of memory, this is his sub from there. It's 2013. Yeah, it just failed. No, that's not it. Why am I in DDR2? DDR1. Where is the Swiss guy? Second. So this is on the expert, and it's second in the world still after 8 years, 8+ years. But he talks about it here. I'll put the link in the chat. About how TCCD support on the expert is not great. 24 hours in a row. The expert really is not the way to go. No TCCD support. Works like a charm with BH5, but it's shit with TCCD. Whatever. Took me 8 more hours for an extra like 6 megahertz. So that's an interesting... I mean, Nay is probably... I mean, there's Katori and stuff, but overall, Nay is probably the top memory bencher of all time. And he says the board is not the way to go with TCCD, but... Take it for what it is. Maybe that's outdated info. Maybe there's been a better bias since then. So we need our new system info now, because the included one clearly is not current. So there was a recent release, actually, version 5.30. Just need to copy that onto my USB. And also need to go down a little bit. So plus 700 didn't work. Let's try plus 675. Let's do steps of 25. What's the cleanest approach? I think removing the previous system info is usually better. They also said that to me, but then they said everything seems fine though, and told me it was back out for delivery. Okay, so an address that wasn't broken, but they said it was not the right one, and then they attempted to re-deliver to it, and it got there without any issues. Hello again, forgive me for asking, but Maxwell's 900 series, correct? Yes. Which model cards? I've got, they're all 918 non-TIs. Currently I have an SCX 2.0 EVGA card in there. Oh, my tripod is shifted for some reason. There we go. And then I also have a Hall of Fame and 3 Kingpins. Why is this so slow? RTX voice does wonders. I haven't actually looked into RTX voice at all. First obvious question would be, do you need an RTX card to use RTX voice? Because if so, then I'm not interested. such a waste of money to put such an expensive card into a streaming rig. But if it's just some sort of a cloud solution, then I might be interested, depending on what it does. I assume it's some sort of cloud AI neural network noise suppression thingy. Overclocking what? Oh, GPUs. Fun times. Better luck with those than I did binning a crap ton of DDR3. Indeed. RTX 2060. Our fault. You've got to remember, I spent $0 on my streaming rig. I mean, literally $0. Yes, I spent money on the cameras and lights and whatnot, capture cards, microphone, USB audio interface, whatever, on the actual like stuff that has a chance of improving the video and audio. But on the actual hardware, on the RAM, case, PSU, GPU, CPU, motherboard, I just grab whatever thing I'm not benching and put it together as a streaming rig. So I don't know what a 2060 goes for now, but it's too much because it's over it's over $0. Let's just check that out of curiosity. So the non-super yeah, 500 Aussie dollars. That is an insane amount of money on a card that will never actually run a game. It's just there to run a stream. So here we've got, will it actually show the system info version? I think it does somewhere here. Yes, so we're on the new system info version. That's nice. Just make sure that demo is disabled. Okay, so this is plus 675. A 1000 series or later. Okay, let's just settle this for now, for once and for all. But it is noise suppression, right? Min specs. RTX. Yes, you need to run an RTX card. Okay, no dice. Where does one even acquire that many Maxwell cards? So I set a lot of eBay reminders. Yeah, and I buy a lot of hardware. So I think I was talking about it earlier. I have about 7. I was showing a bin earlier. I can probably just show it again now that it's empty. This is a 50-liter bin. I have 7 of those bins full of hardware, and that's not all of my hardware. So motherboards, graphics cards. But yeah, the reason I'm streaming on 980 today is because I want to sell some of them, because they're obviously just depreciating, and I still haven't binned them. I have 5 cards, so at the very, very least, I should sell the weakest one, because you can't run 5. I mean, for GPU Pi, you can probably run 5-way. Yeah, so, but otherwise 4 cards is the maximum you want. But realistically, what I want really is 2 cards, because a lot of the hardware points and stuff are in 2 cards. So we failed again. Starting to find our sweet spot here. So let's try 650. RTX voice makes sense when you stream with NVIDIA and NVEnc. Well, I do CPU encoding. So if that's another requirement, then that's another reason that it's not the right fit for me. In a few weeks, it'll become affordable. I don't know. I mean, the 2000 series was just a no-go, really. I mean, it's a little bit like, I'm trying to find a comparison on the CPU side. At the height of Intel or AMD not being competitive on the CPU side, so let's say Bulldozer, what did Intel do? They did, it's a little bit like Devil's Canyon actually, just, yeah, a strange sort of refresh that in some ways is worse than the previous generation, at least performance per dollar. Actually, referring back to the title of the stream, 200 followers. So hype. I think that's actually the last, for whatever reason on Twitch, that's the last follower achievement you get. So there's like 4, you know, the achievement sort of tree, let's say, where there's like a level 1 follower achievement for like 3 followers, and then there's a level 2 for 10 followers, and level 3 for like 50 followers, and then there's one for 200 followers. And after the last stream on Sunday, I got 200 followers. But that doesn't mean you can't still follow. I still appreciate every follow. Obviously, that gives you notifications when I go live and stuff. Right, so this looks a little bit cleaner. It might actually pass. And then I can note down what this card does in terms of memory. So 675 was a fail. 650 pass, question mark. So Pibbies, are you do you also overclock competitively on HardwareBot? Ooh, that passed just about. This is my HardwareBot profile, by the way. Not that hardcore. I mean, HardwareBot isn't hardcore. You can overclock on HardwareBot, you know, on a laptop if you want. Yeah, daily OC is kind of going down the drain a little bit though, with all of the boost algorithms. They've gotten so good over the years that it's getting to the point where daily OC is kind of pointless. Benchmade. Memory, yeah. Everyone daily OCs memory these days. I think it's gotten a bit crazy. I saw a for sale post locally here on a forum recently of someone who was binning through, I think, a 4800 G-Skill kit, a 4500 G-Skill kit, and like a 4133 team group kit. And those are the kind of kits that I would bin through for benching, but for daily, I run I think the 2400 bin Samsung C die or something. As interested as I am in benching overclocking, I'm that disinterested in daily OC. So still flatlining on the score, but let's just take a note of our final result in terms of. This is just such a pain. Okay, that's better. Let's take a screenshot. And now go for the core as well. Just go plus 150. I don't know if that's a reasonable starting point, but Tertiaries are a ton of fun. Okay. To each their own, I suppose. You can be a filthy ambient over casual. Yes. I think that's certainly very welcome on Hardware Bot. We're always looking for new people to join. How much cooler does the Alien make the GX 980? About 50 degrees Celsius at least. Okay, so that's a hard fail. Let's go 600 memory just in case that's holding it back. $3,400 C14. Nice. I wish system info didn't take so long. So earlier on, I was checking the list of past streams, which you can access via a Nightbot command, of course. This card really isn't happy. It's actually just black screening now. Yeah, Challenger divisions are a good way to get started. Talking about Challenger divisions, I try to keep an updated list of what I've benched before in terms of the different architectures, both in 2D and in 3D. And funnily enough, 980, 980 Ti I haven't benched since stream number 5, which was sometime in 2018. So this is what the stream looked like back then. It's quite funny.
No, physics is the same.
My internet wasn't the best, to put it mildly.
So if somebody is trying to sell Firestrike physics for a comp, they can run any preset. They can go Firestrike regular, ultra, or extreme.
Yeah. So things have been improved a little bit.
On its own, but if for whatever reason they do a full run,
I hope you can tell me if they haven't. Maybe you like the retro look. So now let's of course the date change didn't take because the system hung. That's so loud. Okay, maybe I can find some sort of happy medium, like 80% fans or something. Okay, 75% fans it is. Alright, trying the 150 core just without the memory overclocked. Which card should I try next? Hoff or Kingpin? It's also September, by the way. I think there's some sort of discount on subs. Oof. That doesn't look good at all, to put it mildly. Alright, I might try RTX voice then. Now I'm sort of curious. Now that a lot of people say it's good. Damn it, I forgot to reboot after setting the date and time. It doesn't seem to want to let me even. Hello. So yeah, I think I was talking about it earlier how hardware gurus are doing quite well. And it's mostly in Team Cup, I mean. And it's mostly down to some 3D submissions. So 06, I'm not sure if they've subbed 06 actually. Let's check. No, they have not. But where's 03? They've subbed 03. Alright. So we have our date set. Let's try plus 125. Come on, 3D Mac. Scan your system info, please. So Hardware Gurus is a pretty small team, but a 7G03 run on Vega is pretty special. Still only the second spot though. Must be some sort of efficiency issue because Pulse is only on Cascade. So 6.5G run at 2.3. Should have maybe overclocked the card a bit, but still a solid run. I think have they? Yes, they've subbed the DDR3 stuff as well. I think even on cold. Let's double check. Yeah, a 3930 on LN2 with a lightning on LN2 is pretty strong. What 570 run did they do? Just Air Ivy, that's still solid. Where they're going to struggle though is DDR2 and 1. I don't see them having subbed at all. Good old Fire Strike, you've got to love it. I'm sort of tempted by these runs by 12. So here you see me in third. Quite a few juicy points to be had here. And I'm not that far away. That was actually done on the i7 9700K, which is only an 8-thread CPU. So if I run this on 10-core 20 thread or 14-core 28 thread, maybe I can even get first on all water. Maybe. Otherwise, not too much going on. Our good friend Tag putting up a solid run. Oh, we passed. Nice. So 125. So next I'll try something like plus 125 plus 600. So what's this? Oh, that's actually a 1M. 660. Holy. And that's not even that special for E8600 for some reason. What do you need for first? What the hell? Is it single channel or something? Yeah, single channel, okay. Wow. Tough competition there if wow. If 660 BCLK only gives you the 70th spot. So our run has completed. So that's 15.5 GTs. So now let's do 125 600 or even a 650 to be honest. So what's everyone else benching these days? Team Cup? Or Harbor Points? No early stutter, so that's good. It's always a good start. No early stutter. What's even a good run? I have no sense whatsoever of what scores would be good here. Let's have a look. So we're talking Fire Strike regular. That's a hard crash though. So Fire Strike regular. Step Ponzi with the 2.2G in first. That's when you know there's stiff competition, when even Kingpin can only get third. Yeah. $1,700 on water. 1,800 on water. Wow. This card isn't great, is it? So that was a crash. So let's try 125 600. All right. I added a bit of volume. Hopefully that's better. Thanks for pointing it out, Mythical. I can add some noise suppression as well. Just somebody told me last stream that there were not there were some issues. There we go. That's with noise suppression applied as well. So I made the mistake of removing all of my filters that I had previously applied. They are still on X90 died. Wow, well, but the thing is, LN2, these cards are not easy to run on LN2. Yeah, of course the CPU score is beatable now. But it's still LN2 on the CPU. It's not that easy. You do it, White Shark. Whip out your 9900K. Put a bit of dice on that. See how you go on. Get on. Holy shit. If anything, it's worse. Might have to start thinking about lowering GPU core. Let's try one run. Do you have a HOF, White Shark? Let's try one run on 550 memory, and then if we're still getting GT1 crashes, then that means we'll have to go to like 110 core and see how it goes. No, but even, I mean, even a 9900K easily beats a 6950X. Two, nice. I shouldn't have bought my 980 Ti's. I really shouldn't have. I think the depreciation on those is gonna be quite high. And in the end, they're not even worth that many points. I think 980s, it's a little bit easier. GT1 in this is pretty nice. I don't get tired of watching it, whereas I think there's some benches like 03 and Vantage where the early GTs, you just see them so often and they just become a bit sickening. But GT1, it's just so smooth flowing, nice lightning effects and stuff. So that's a pass. If we get a GT2 pass as well, then I'll try 575 and then move on to another card. Oh, no run. No run at all. So what are these people on water doing to get 1700 out of their cards? Is it just a bit good bin? The V-Core looks okay actually. What vendor is it? EVJ. Well, I'm not getting that score out of this this EVJ, that's for sure. I think I'll just select GT1 and 2. Come on, OS. Yeah, that's right. The 900 series is the last NVIDIA card that has native D-sub or VGA support, analog support. I think on the AMD side, it's the 290X. Still has it. Let's see if we can find a sort of more contemporary. Or Lord Nickel is on here. Delhi. Stubas even. 1600 on a chiller, that sounds a bit more reasonable. So 17k for the GTs. I'm on, what was it? 15k. Well, still need to apply a lot, I suppose. Okay, so we have GT2 running. That's always good. So that's a 15.9. Just gonna grab a quick screenshot and then maybe see if you can get another 10 out of the core. I should probably be maxing the power limit as well. Hi, Hardware Barbecue. Not sure if it's good day, good morning, good evening, good night for you, but whatever it is, hope you're having a good one. It's a rainy day here in Sydney, so I'm doing the next best thing to being outside, which is inside benching. Morning, nice. Oh, we're getting black and white. That's not when you know that you're getting somewhere, is when you your benchmark turns black and white. Then you know that you're really pushing the card, or starting to, at least, to push the card enough. $3600X and $3900X. Now that the XTs are out, they have surplus stock, right? No, I'm joking. 12 core would be nice. If I had a 12 core, then I'd buy an Impact and do things, but I don't, so. Well, it's not failing. Maybe you can hit 16K like this. Alright, time to move on to a Kingpin after this. Well, I'll keep upping the frequency until something crashes, but time to put a new card in there. The best ASIC card, actually, 70%. Oh, that's a bugged run. 18.1K, that's a bugged run. Okay, let's try something slightly different. Let's go less core and more mem. They usually don't like you. Why? Are you an Intel fanboy? Or maybe the power limit was really made such a huge difference. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a non-black and white run that also scores well. Alright, still black and white. Who's Gareth? Okay. I do like the black and white. I wish there was an option in the benchmark to make it black and white. Yeah, 18K again. Starting to think that's not bugged. Okay, let's save a data file and see. Well, you custom run, you can't really save a data file. Let's see. Let's just do a full run and see if that validates. So 135.525 was bugged at 18.1k, or potentially bugged. 125.535 was 18k, bugged. Now I'm trying 135.535. Three Mag Noir. Ooh, non-bugged. Weird, but let's see if it reflects in the score or not. As I'm trying to avoid hitting my streaming rig, I'm really lazy about RMAing stuff. I now have a Threadripper CPU, an ASRock Threadripper board, and an 8700K to RMA, and actually a Radeon Vega Nano. It's all my daily stuff that dies, not the benching stuff. Yeah, not really nice, but I suppose nice in a tragic way. A bent 4th gen. Haswell is pretty hardy. Devil's Canyon has a reputation for dying after having been cold. I didn't kill it, it died. There's a difference. There are times when I kill something and I know exactly why it died. It's because I killed it, because I did something wrong, I pushed the voltage too much, whatever, it got wet. I'll completely admit to that. And there are times that things die. And the board that died was the M80X one. So the I think it's called the X399M Tai Chi. So I have to RMA it because it's the only M80X Threadripper board, and my case is also M80X. So that's the reason my stream rig is on an open benching table next to my feet instead of being in a case. Yeah, tons of benchers do old hardware. I mean, this is not even old. This is just 3 or 4 generations ago. Really old hardware is like DDR2, you know, SDR, on the 3D side, AGP. That's old hardware. Do we have a score? Is it over 18k? Yeah, so now we have the non-bugged result. 16.4. Okay, that's worth saving, I think. Celeron 300A was a great CPU. I remember that. All right, let's put a kingpin in there. I don't see an I2C connector, White Shark. I could be wrong, but nothing on the back side of the PCB. Nothing on this edge. Nothing on the top edge. All right, time for the kingpin. My card is quite a bit larger. There we go. Don't want to hide the alien. Weird blinking effect on the classified logo there. Hello. Cards. Don't tell me it's dead. No, that was just my normal card. Okay, it's not dead. Just needed a reboot. So that's just a normal sort of consumer card, and then I have 3 classifieds. Well, 3 kingpins, and the 1 Huff. So let's just make sure it's all fully detected and all that. Abit made P45. Didn't know about that. I may have plug and play disabled, or oh, there we go. Now it's detecting. Just took a little bit of time. So we're boosting okay. I'm just gonna note down what normal boost is. So 1430. 1753. Okay, let's do our usual memory test. Can do that with the fan off. Ooh, 71% more power. Let's start with plus 500. So we had a 14.9. I know it's going to be terrible, but I just want to... oh, so we're sort of in Lord Nickel territory already. So 0.5 harbor points. Nice. Maybe if we can boost our 1600 core, that's pretty nice on chiller. Oh, that's a -5 Celsius chiller though. Yeah, Aura's logo is interesting. When did the points even get interesting here? So there just seem to be so many LN2 results. So let's say the very bottom end of the top 50. So 10 harbor points. Still have LN2 results there, and very strong water ones. Yeah, points is not going to be a factor, is it? How about two-way? What do you need for two-way? Still LN2. I mean, something like mean keys, I could see that happening. Haswell E on single stage though, that's not that easy to get. I like both GTs. Is Firestrike, does anyone know, is Firestrike actually the shortest bench of them all? Because both GT1 and 2 are quite short, and there's only 2 GTs, which Time Spy, for example, only has 2 GTs, but I think GT1 is quite long. So plus 500 passes, no surprise there. Let's go to plus 600. Does anyone know if all the kingpins have Samsung? What about three-way? What do I need to beat the three-way gold? Also LNT. That's the trouble with cards that used to be the top card. Wow, even like 1700 three-way H2O, that's pretty impressive. What did Bob run it on? LN2 as well. Starting to see some flickering actually, strangely enough. Let's check in on the latest rumors and news around the 3000 series. So what's the Bitsky block all about? Wow, is that Is this actually what the PCB looks like? I didn't realize that they did that. I was trying to sort of think what usually goes in this area. So they've chosen to, I would assume, put the memory VRM over here. And then that kind of frees up a little bit of space here. Is there just more of the sort of fan controller and all that bullshit now actually just literally attached to the fan? I know they're saving a little bit of space with the power connectors, but that doesn't make up all of this cutout. Interesting. Oh no, I'm doing a full run. So a usual completely see-through block. Fair enough. So the 2060 is going to be pretty beefy. Let's have a look at this. So 10,000 cores. I mean, 20% less cores, fewer cores, same amount of RAM. This looks pretty good, but the fact that they're again supposedly considering both Super and TI is just ridiculous. All right, let's just cancel out of this. And so 600 was good. So the previous card did just on memory did 650. So let's try 675. Actually, let's just try 700. What's the worst that can happen? No, actually, nope, that's not what I want. Thanks for watching, Kurzak. Have a nice day. But the way I mean, I'm not a gamer, so take this with a grain of salt, but the way I see it, RAM capacity, RAM quantity is going to be sort of more important in the future than speed, isn't it? Because 8 is sort of on the low end already. Pictures of the E5 2602 V4 5.1 gigahertz quad core came out. So they're releasing a quad core for single threaded server performance. So that's what's happening. Is it 10 nanometer? So 700 is KO. Ah, Broadwell. Good old Broadwell. So 675. Well, we're still on 14 nanometers, so it's sort of still relevant, isn't it? In a funny way. So now we're at the disco side of card instability here. Let's see how far it'll go before it just crashes. Yeah, Broadwell was the generation that clocked so poorly they basically didn't want to release it on desktop. Kind of like first gen 10 nanometer. Come on, system info. We don't have all day. Okay, so still a bit of a disco feel going on here. So it looks like the meme is a little bit worse, at least when clocked on its own like this. So 600 passed, so I would assume 625 will pass. Alright, I think at this point I just need a reboot. Come on, OS. The gamer's benchmark. Is it though? Is it the gamer's benchmark? I reckon an actual game as a benchmark is the gamer's benchmark. A little bit of flickering, but this might pass. Here we go, GT2. Haven't seen one of these in a while. $3,000 series GPU or CPU. Okay, so that is a pass. So that's a 625 pass on the memory, whereas it was 650 on the other card. So now let's try something a little bit crazy, like 100. 100, 600. What am I doing? So 3000 series GPUs, very unlikely. I would buy them for benching. The kind of newish stuff that I'm interested in is on the AMD side, pretty much nothing. I benched the 5700 XT cold for Country Cup, and just the screwing around with power limits and stuff is just not enjoyable. And whatever Big Navi, whatever RDNA 2.0, whatever is coming out there is going to be similar from an overclocking perspective. Nvidia, I like the 900 series. I still need to do 1070, 1080 properly, even just ambient. I own too many GPUs. I own hundreds of GPUs. So if I feel like I want to bench something modern, that's what I'm going to bench, is like 1070 half, 1080 half. Eventually I do want to run multi-way 1080 Ti as well. So I'm sort of waiting for more and more new GPUs to come out so the 1080 Ti gets cheaper. I think once it's like $2 to $50 for a 1080 Ti, I would be tempted to buy 4 or maybe even 2 just, and run a lot of the modern benches in multi-way. So still unlikely to happen, but still more likely than the 3000 series. GPUs just depreciate so quickly. It's funny, on the CPU side, you can buy a 4770K for, let's say in Aussie dollars, 200 Aussie dollars, bench it for 2 years and sell it again for 200 Aussie dollars or 180. But if you do this a similar kind of thing, like if you buy like a 780 Ti for 150 Aussie dollars, that's what I bought mine for a few years ago. It's now like 100 or 80 even. So I think this result is pretty good. So that's a 14.9K. So we're already ahead actually of what we had. Because for whatever reason this card is more happy with both core and memory clocked, so that's interesting. Maybe it's a power limit thing, who knows. So let's try plus 150. Like, I already own too many GPUs for someone who doesn't do too much 3D benching. So I like, relative to how much gear I own, I actually bench way more 2D. Like I probably don't even own that much. What should I say? Like, my stock of CPUs is probably smaller than my stock of GPUs, even though I bench it like at least twice or 3 times as often. So I shouldn't really be buying more CPUs. So 3000 series CPU. Maybe if 4000 comes out and has some sort of nasty cold bug, because then both the price will drop and the benching relevance will stay current, let's say. So that's when it will get interesting, because with the XT release, we now actually have, I mean, 8 core relevance isn't that high considering how good the 9900K and KS and KF were. But certainly 12 and 16 core benching relevance is really, really nice now with the XT. So I'd be looking to get XTs if 4000 series is a dud for benching. If, of course, 4000 series, I don't know, moves to a different IO die that doesn't have a cold bug, then it's going to be the other way around, basically. But I think it's going to be overpriced because Comet isn't that interesting for daily. So AMD will charge an even bigger premium than they already charge with the 3000 series and 3000 series refreshes. I don't know why I'm opening CPU Z. Seems kind of redundant. Should have had a sensor tab on this. So plus 135 is actually 1535. So okay, this would be clearly making the card better than the previous card if it passes. But I think even Rocket Lake could be very interesting now that I have a board already anyway. I'm even sort of tempted to get a 10600K to see how it stacks up against 8700K, because that's really not been benched, like pretty much at all. There's been very little 10700K benching. It's all 10900K, and then 10600K is just non-existent basically. Yeah, someone ran it on his Cascade. Great. You know, look at the hardware points for something like Cinebench 15. It's ridiculous. Ooh, looks like we might be passing. I should up the fan profile actually. Let's see how loud this is on 75%. Seems quieter actually. So I don't know what the deal is with the sensors, but maybe the other card needs a repaste because it was showing 40 idle, whereas here we're on like 20 degrees idle. That's something I might rebench that off stream with a repaste. Yeah, there was talk of the whole Rocket Lake PCI 4.0 compatibility in current gen motherboards being a bit of a fake news item. But for benching, I don't think that's really relevant. Like, especially for 2D benching, I think Z490 boards will still be fine. That's usually the case, unless we see a new DDR4 IC, which I doubt because by that point we'll be so close to DDR5. One of them is yours. Well, which one? Are you Aetherius? Or Turbo 1? The only H2O. Well, there's Solid Ton and there's Julian RIC QRT. Oh, nice. 5G is pretty good. What volts did you need for that? Oh, you've got an Apex. Nice. C15, 1.33. Seems solid. Okay, that's a little bit too much, obviously. Let's do a full run. I'd still like to see it cold. Considering there's the 8086K, you're unlikely to beat previous gen, especially since the 8086K also runs on the Apex 11 and those kind of boards, so you can run nice and high A2 RAM. Need an offset to get 5G, and just with the big monolithic die that Intel is still using is really shining through there, because on the AMD side you don't have that massive performance or bidding off fall off that you see on Intel. Even the 10700K, I know someone who binned a lot of them on cold and it really wasn't a pretty experience. So all of the best silicon goes into the 10900K, and even there they were having trouble finding enough viable bins dies. So that's why they introduced the 10850K or whatever it's called. Yeah, I don't know what SP means. I think SP is kind of fake news. Just Asus being Asus, coming up with a new fake measure to grade CPUs. Doesn't go high on memory. Well, that's a shame. Or maybe I'm just bad. That's something I think about all the time, is when I get a crap score on a CPU, is it a user error or is it really a bad CPU? All right, there's physics, Time for combined. So what did we get in the end? An extra 60 points, not even. But we'll take it. We'll take it. Just grab a quick screenshot. What the hell? And I'll just do one more run. I'll relax the memory a little bit and see if I can get more core that way. Yeah, Geekbench has a lot of variants. It's really important to have the right OS and the right sub timings, or else it's really easy to be beaten. No go. All right. Well, at least we figured out this card has better memory. So between those two cards, I'd pick this one. It's the better skew and the better bin, apparently. So time for Kingpin number 2. Hi, UC. Oh, that was a quick boot. Now, is it gonna... It's probably gonna recognize way better than before because it's just the same vendor. And for some fucked up reason, it's 1444 stock, whereas the other one was 1430 stock. And that should unfortunately also affect the offset. Maybe I'm dumb. Oh, it's apply. Has it applied the overclock? Maybe. Let's check. No, the core is the same. So hold on. Let's figure this crap out. How can you have two cards of the same vendor? So 1753, fair enough. But why is it 1444? Maybe it's a different bias or something. Let's check the bias version. No, it's identical bias. I don't get it. I do not get it. Okay, let's just note it down, and that's all we can do, really, isn't it? Let's see if we can shortcut the process a little bit and just run the setting that the previous card failed at. Would be nice if it did, but I'm not holding my breath for it. To be fair, it could be that I'm on a different dip switch setting, that this bias is whatever, the LN2 bias or something, and it has a slightly different stock GPU clock. So yeah, this first card was set to LN2. There's triple bias, so there's LN2, OC, and normal. Yeah, it was on the normal bias, so I just flicked the switch. I'm rebooting. Don't want to give one card an unfair advantage. Let's see if my theory ends up being correct. How much maximum do I have set on this thing anyway? Still raining outside. I didn't miss anything. Come on, OS. 2.7. And now it's showing a different boost again. So the stock boost for some reason is different, but no, I get it. So yeah, okay. So 1305 is, even though there's a stock boost, 1305 is base, and then 1753 for the memory. So if I now apply the same as on the previous card, which was 125 and 600 on the mem. Do I get the same is the question. Yeah, 1429 to, yeah. Let's see if that passes. No. I think the card might just be worse. But let's check if it's core or memory. So what we can do is go back to our previous method of checking out the memory first. And if the memory is roughly the same, then we can do core on its own. So start at 650. Maybe I should just disable system info for these runs. So this is where it starts to get interesting, because 650 on the other card was disco. So when you then end up with a card that has better memory but worse core. Hi GT403, good morning. I guess it's safe to say It's lunchtime for me. We're just bidding a few. I say a few, but bidding 5 GTX 980s. So 3 Kingpins, and I also have an EVGA ACX. Oh, evening. Sorry, you're in the US. Well, good evening. I hope you have a beer in hand, or just a beverage of your choice. So this is the third card. I'd go to the fourth card for sure. I don't know about the fifth card because it's actually not got a cooler on it at the moment. So that failed in GT2. I'm curious to see what it will do in if I apply a higher overclock. Yeah, good old GT2. I'm trying to think if there's a 3 Mark where GT1 isn't the lightest GT. Let's go through them. Well, 3 Mark 01, you can run them in any order, so that doesn't count really. 03 GT1 for sure is the lightest. 05, so that's ProxyCon. I don't think I've had any fails on, unless it's at the very beginning where you just have a way too high overclock. I don't think I've had any GT1 fails in 05. So there's only 3 GTs to choose from anyway. GT3 is Canyons, that's heavy. GT2 is that Firefly thing, so yeah, their GT1 is the lightest. 06, kind of the same thing applies. Maybe the Deep Freeze isn't as heavy, but then it's a shader model 3, so maybe you could argue it's a joint lightest ProxyCon. It's a very long GT, so I think 06, there's definitely an argument to be made that because the card cools down again during the CPU tests, GT4 is the lightest, but it comes right after the heaviest GT, so will you ever really get to that? That's kind of the issue there. So that's 06. Vantage GT2 is definitely heavier. It's also longer. Hi GTX 58. I have a few 580s behind me actually. I was showing them off earlier on the stream. Some volt modded ones. 3 Mac 11 GT1 is just very, like, there's almost, it's sort of like, okay, so it just fails at the same spot. Okay. Yeah, so that Vantage 11, 3, and I think the GT3 and 4 use a slightly different rasterization or DirectX version to 1 and 2. Now, I'm not really all that familiar with that bench, so maybe 1 and 2 are sort of tied, but for sure 1 isn't heavier than 2. So again, is it bidding for it? So many GTs at the moment. Yes, I'm going through all the different GTs. And Canadian. Yes, Canadians are great. So because GT2, so okay, so let's continue. So that was 3 Mark 11. We're almost done. Stick with me. So Skydiver and Cloudgate. It's very close, but yeah, Skydiver GT1 for sure is the lightest. Cloudgate, I don't run so much, but it's either tied or GT1 is the lightest. And then we come to Firestrike, where GT1 for sure is lighter than GT2. Time Spy, GT1 is the kind of longer one, so it puts more heat load in your card. So if you don't have adequate cooling, it might fail because of that. But in terms of the stress it puts on the core and memory, the GT2 for sure is heavier. And then we have, you know, smaller ones like Nitrate and stuff. So yes, in summary, in the, you know, almost 20-year history of 3D Mark, GT1 has always been the lightest GT. So now we're done with GTs. Am I bidding for a Team Cup stage? No, I'm not. I'm just sort of taking a break. My last stream on Sunday was for a Team Cup stage. And I've torn down that rig now. I've gotten the result out of it that I wanted. So I just wanted to go on to something. Here, the motivation is more that I have so many cards, and they still fetch they fetch a couple of hundred Aussie dollars on the used market. So I want to bin these and, you know, sell one or two of them at least while they're still worth something before the next launch where they depreciate again. So that's kind of the motivation here. So that's passing. 6225 is passing. The previous Kingpin also passed 625. Let's try like plus 100. Okay, let's escape out of that. Let's try 625 and plus 100. Temps are good. No, I'm doing core now too. I just because all of these cards are so cooling and V-core limited, instead of like swapping around blocks and running them all on water, I've decided to run them on their stock cooling, but get a few different data points. So how high the memory will go without the core overclocked, how high the core will go without the memory overclocked, and then combined. Because I saw some differences on the first card. I was able to pass plus 125 on the core, plus 535 on the memory, but it passed 650 on the memory if the core wasn't overclocked. So actually the first card in some ways was the strongest memory card, but because of power budget or cooling constraints or whatever, I had to downclock the memory quite a lot to pass with the core OC also applied. On the Kingpin, I was pretty much able to pass with the same memory overclock with the core applied. So I'm now checking if that the same thing is the case on this second Kingpin card, and then on the third as well. But also stress. So right, obviously, you know, GPU memory and core kind of work together as a system. So yeah, it's sort of similar on CPU as well. If you run SuperPi 32M with the core at 5G, you'll most likely be able to pass at a higher memory clock or lower timings or a combination of those two. Whereas when you go cold, well, then you have to consider cold IMC as well. But let's say you're running cold IMC at 5G, you'll be able to pass higher memory settings in that scenario than if you're running like 7G. And it's similar here, because basically a higher core frequency outputs higher FPS. That puts more stress on the memory. Okay, so we passed that. Let's try plus 110. Yeah, balance. Exactly. There's a balance to be struck, especially on the recent AMD stuff because they're so power limited. You can run into a scenario where you're running high memory frequency, but that doesn't really give you that much extra performance, but it does eat into the power budget, which then limits your core overclocking. A lot of the time on recent AMD, under like sometimes you can set your core target frequency so high that it will actually perform worse because the card will kind of bounce around too much. You have to find a sweet spot both in terms of the power limit you apply and the clocks you apply, and it's a frequency, it's a curve actually. There's a clock curve, so it's very complicated, it's very challenging, but I just find it annoying. These two cards are really close. I might have to rebin them like on water against each other. Ah, no pass. Okay, so it is, this card is what's that? About 25 core worse. I'll just try a quick one with less memory, just in case the memory was holding back the core, but the core does seem to be worse. Good thing about the kingpins, of course, will be that they'll probably be ready to go for LN2. I should probably insulate them, put some vase on them, and maybe bin them like in GPU. Like I find GPU Pi is nice for binning. Oof. Don't know what happened there. Let's give it a quick reboot. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe I have to hang on to the kingpins. Bin the Hall of Fame. With any luck, the Hall of Fame will be worse than the kingpins. And then I can sell the Hall of Fame and the ACX and hang on to the 3 kingpins. Bin those on LN2. Maybe hang on to the 2 best ones. Give them another run on LN2. Something like that. But I have to start making inroads because I don't know, cards just depreciate faster than boards or CPUs. Getting around lunchtime though, so I do want to swap on in the last card. Come on, system info. Wonder what it's even trying to do. Nothing ever changes. Should just be able to collect the previous system info. Yeah, for the cards. But then again, there's still not that much of a market for them. So a little bit of a stutter there. Why should I turn off hardware monitoring? Yeah, maybe that's what I should do, but I also do want to save actual scores once in a while, so I don't really want to toggle hardware monitoring on and off. Maybe I should. Yeah, cards are funny. I don't know. There's just less. Oh, that's right. So there's two toggles, isn't there? Yeah. Thanks for that tip. So okay, so we passed. Interesting. Let's try. So that passed 125 600. That's what the other card did. So if this card does that, then we're in real trouble. They're really, really close. Did that collection run faster there? Yeah, I will run them in SLI as well. SLI is funny. It's kind of a little bit like RAM. You want to match up sticks that prefer similar voltage, similar clocks. You're in trouble in SLI if you have one card that's much stronger than the other, or has the voltage sweet spot much higher than the other. It doesn't pass, but it's within margin of error, I guess. All right, time for card number 3. Yeah, well, not on the back. They're here. Oh, they're there. but it's an engineering sample, so that's not stock. Really useful to get XP going, for example. So, do we have a recognized card? Please don't ask for the pinout. Not sure if, well, I don't have it, but even if I had it, I probably wouldn't be allowed to share it. Ah, are we on the right bias? Nope, that was the normal bias, so let's reboot into LN2 bias. Yeah, but, well, I don't really know what you need. Oh, it's public already, okay. Yeah, then all you need is just a little bit of patience and lots of wires. The bias that has the PS2 patch in it is public as well, so in theory you can buy this card and attach PS2 to it yourself if you want, if you say the pinout is available. Come on, OS, you can do it. Okay, well, let's start off at the top. ISA GPU off the LPC bus. What use case would that have? If PCIe is unstable, but running 2D, I haven't really experienced PCIe being unstable. All right, no surprise there. Insta fail. Six, 7, 5. Hypothetical. So I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where this would happen. We're back in disco territory. The artifacts are real. Indeed they are. GTX, are you going to bench for Team Cup? You're in... What's the name of that team again? You're in Hardware Canucks or something? Damn, what's that team called again? Where are our Canadian friends? Hardware Canucks. Yes, number 2. I guessed right. I'm loving these artifacts. Will it pass is the question. Seizure. Yes, we need an epilepsy warning. Anyone with epilepsy, please turn off the stream immediately. So how come Hardware Canucks is not competing this year? Just because of the Rona or other reasons? So that was GT2 fail. Looks like the memory is going to be very, very similar to the other cards. Is it art? Yes, everything is art. In my opinion. Took a break from benching. I know that feeling. I've done that before. I think I've talked about it on the stream before, how at the height of the Rona in March and April, I probably didn't do any benching whatsoever for a couple of months. Okay. Looks like a reboot is in order. I might just install GTL as well, so I can apply like a 50x core and on-core overclock. First I have to finish binning this card though. I don't want to influence the results by applying a core overclock on the CPU. On the wall? That doesn't sound very good. GD403, what team are you in? I wonder what these loading bars are even about. I mean, these tests are so short. What could it possibly be loading in? AHOCD. Alright, that's still a fail. There we go. Also Canadian team. Oh, I know Scoose Row. Redux sounds somewhat familiar as well. Yeah, 89 Harbor Cups. That's decent. Oh, 5-minute 20 AE run. We're really not happy here, are we? This could be a weak card. So this is 575. I haven't had to go down to 575 on any of the 3 cards I've tried so far. So Disco's gone, but still seeing a little bit of flickering. Not really confident this is going to pass GT2. So Dice Haswell is always interesting. Is that a beast? Or T-Rex, I mean? That's nasty looking. What memory I see is it? Oh, Sammy, nice. Yeah, it might do well on core, so I'm not giving up on it yet. Might after this passes or doesn't pass, I might try it on something like plus 100 plus 550. Nah, didn't pass. That's pretty horrendous. Have to admit it. I mean, even 550 is workable if it's a good core, but starting to think it wouldn't be. Which is interesting, actually, because this is the worst ASIC of the 3. Actually, the Hoff is better ASIC-wise as well, so it's the worst ASIC of 4 of the cards. Not sure what the ASIC of the random EVGA is. I kind of like that when I'm bidding, though. The worst... Okay. Let's give it one more reboot. And one more run. But I'm starting to think this is going to be a reject. Which I like. I like when I'm bidding, when I, have a clear best and second best card or chip or stick or whatever it is, and a clear worst. Because what's sort of dicey is when you have 5 or 6 of something and they're all next to each other and you don't really know how to distinguish between them, and then you have to start bidding on LN2, but then maybe you have a bad mount and you sort of start second guessing yourself about which one to sell and which one to keep. Memvols, yeah, certainly a possibility. Come on, OS. You can do it. the way it scans and then rescan system info, you know, either scan on launch. I suppose you could change your overclock or something. So scan on run only. Why scan on launch? It's so bloody dumb. Like I just don't get it. It's just such a waste of time. So I'm taking bets. Is this going to pass? Looking like a pretty smooth start, I have to admit. Fail. Pass. Okay, we have one vote each so far. I'm saying pass. Ah. All right. I see how it is. I'm trying a plus 500 and then I'm gonna go into core OC. Yeah, 1 and 5. Always 1 and 5. Sometimes I do something else, like if I'm running multiple benches, like I'm running 01, 03, 05, then I'll save them under profile 1, 3, 5. But that's rare. If I'm running just one bench, then it's profiles 1 and 5. Maybe 1, 2, and 5 sometimes. If I have two profiles for the final run, like an aggressive one that might pass or might fail, and a sort of safer one. And then if I have just one messing around profile, then 3 is next. All right, this I didn't see any artifacting or flickering here, so this should be safe to run alongside a core OC. Okay, I'm calling it now. It's a pass. And now I'm going to try 125 and 500. Pass. No prizes for guessing pass on this one. So we just hit the 3 hour mark. Nice. And it's a pass. Any guesses on this passing? I'm sort of starting to think it's a bad card and it's going to have a bad core as well. But let's see. Let's withhold judgment. Oof. Not a good start with that first little artifact there. Now there goes GD1. Looks like no GT2 though. Yeah, it's rare, but it's happening. Okay, let's go with 100, 500. More V-Core. I don't know about that. Put it in the garbage. Yeah, I think this is gonna be my reject. I also forgot to do the fan speed thing though, so just doing that now in case it makes a difference. So Livestream 100 is getting ever closer. I'm taking suggestions. I'm sort of trending towards doing a 12-hour stream. Maybe have some guests on and stuff. But yeah, this is 86 already, so I usually stream once a week, so that's Christmas time for Livestream 100, roughly. Maybe more around the new year, but somewhere around there. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Hopefully it's not 45 degrees the day I want to stream that, because that will be the middle of the summer in Australia. Very smooth GT1. I mean, this card is still not a million miles away. It's 15 core. Well, it's memories is what's holding it back, but 15 core away from the best cards. I already do that. I already pour LN2 on myself accidentally, so I no reason to have to do it on purpose. It's more the components that suffer in the summer, because inevitably you always end up with components that are, you know, not LN2'd. So even, I suppose, yeah, for something like a 12-hour stream, at least some of the benching would be ambient, and yeah, I can attach blocks to everything, but then the chiller is running constantly and heating up the room even more. So yeah, it's hard to get away from the fact that the heat has to go somewhere. If it's not on the components, then it's on me. Let's do a full run to get a sort of baseline score, and then I'm gonna do a quick CPU OC. Run some really long tubes. Okay. Well, no, it's not feasible. I think the first best run was 15k, so we're not a million miles away from it. Let's just get a sloppy screenshot and all right. We have GTL, folks. It's all happening now. This will probably hang. Oh, it didn't actually. The V-core is on auto. So that was... So that was 14.7K. Let's just run a quick physics test. $780 Ti is a bit of a sore subject for me. I have two kingpins. I bought them from the US. They took so long to arrive, I couldn't return them. One was dead. It has display out, but it won't install the driver. I might try and reball it or something, but that was a very costly investment for a card that I ended up not benching much. I mean, one was dead and the other... 31K physics, that's pretty impressive for such terrible memory. Now I'm tempted to go higher. 5.2. Auto V-core doing a pretty good job, isn't it? Okay, got another K out of it or so. Yeah, let's just do a full run. Actually, the one thing I do want to do is, in case you don't know, this is really important in a lot of cases, is to change the power management mode to maximum performance. And I press cancel. That's not very smart. All right, here we go. If it passes, it's the final run of the stream. Taking bets on what the result will be. Uh, 14.7K was the last run, and a better run I got on another card, but without the CPU overclocked, was about 14.9 or about 15K. Saw a bit of artifacting though, so it's a little bit dodgy. Now, if it passes, it'll be over 15k because I now have about 10k more physics. So it's just a question of will it be like 15.1, 15.5, somewhere around there. That's a good guess. Hopefully no combined fail or anything wonky like that. Always nice to see over 100 FPS in physics. Okay, let's go. Final run. Let's do it. Let's get a good score out. And then off stream, I'll obviously optimize LOD, put the better card back in, maybe attach a water block, start pushing volts a bit. Maybe rebin, sort of selectively rebin. So this is looking like I'll try memory volts on here to get memory up, but if that doesn't work, and we have a combined fail. Oof. So close, and yet so far. Okay, let's see if it's CPU or GPU. Let's apply CPU overclock first. Do a run of combined only. If that passes, apply GPU as well and do a combined only run. If that fails, knock back the GPU overclock a little bit. GTL has profiles and hotkeys in it, so I could potentially, if it's CPU related, downclock for CT specifically. Let's do it. I know that this chip doesn't have such great on-core, so maybe it's actually on-core rather than core, but let's see. Is that applied? So CT on CPU, overclock only. Maybe it was just a random fail. Maybe it just requires a rerun. Now that looks clean. Next thing is applying GPU. If that passes, maybe it's just the accumulated heat in the GPU or something. I might knock back the GPU core overclock by 10 megahertz anyway. That's clean. Okay, seems like a random fail. What I might do is lower the chiller temp a little bit just for this one run, and also increase fan on the card, and actually just rerun with the same clocks. Must have been just some sort of heat build-up thing after the other three subtests. Here we go, 100% fan. So annoying. Well, we're not seeing the early little bits of artifacting we saw last run, so... Do I apply clocks? Hopefully I apply clocks on GPU. Yes, the fans make all the difference. GG2 looking much cleaner than last run, so let's hope for a pass. What is this crap? Alright. So it is CPU related. Let's go 5.5 instead of 5.2, 5.2, whatever. Let's go 5 gigahertz instead of 5.25. Won't make a huge difference anyway. Alright, hopefully this is really their last run. Want to go get some lunch. 12:48 in the afternoon here. And I've had nothing since breakfast at 8 a.m. or something. Let's do this. Which I'm probably jinxing it. Meanwhile, Vince is sneak peeking some of the PCB of the new Kingpin. What the hell is going on here? Alright. It wasn't to be. It simply wasn't to be. Thanks all for joining today. I'll get a run out and I'll post it on HardwareBot. I think the solution is just to put the better card back into the system and rerun, which I will do maybe at some point in the afternoon. But now I'm going to get some food. Stream was lots of fun, almost 3.5 hours. I have a much better idea of my cards and everything now. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Until next time.